everyone, it's Emily from Life So Savory, and today we're going to be making a really fun seasonal craft, or at least I'm making it seasonal. You can do it however you want. We're going to use the scan and cut, we're going to use some fabric scraps, and it's going to be really fun. So I was looking today at this wooden decor piece that I have in my living room, and I thought, well, maybe this afternoon I could add a back to it. So now it's a reversible seasonal piece. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And I hope you'll stick around and join me. So let's get started. All right, so let me first show you what I have already made. And I made this several years ago. It's held up really, really well. Today we're going to add a back to it that hopefully will be cute. So I have this Give Thanks wood piece that I placed on our mantle, and it's held up really well. It's cut fabric, it's Mod Podge, and it's a piece of wood that I think I got at Hobby Lobby, but I'm not 100% sure. Okay, so and I use this fun scripty font. I used my scan and cut to cut the fabric, which gave me beautiful letters, and the Mod Podge adhered perfectly to the wood. This has really had no wear and tear over the years. It looks great. Try to give you a close-up of the letters, but has been really, really a fun piece to have. And so I thought, oh, the back is blank. Obviously, this is the front because you can see more of like the bark on it. But we're going to put Merry Christmas on the back, and then I can just flip it around when I move my fall decorations and I move to winter decorations, okay? Or Christmas decorations. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm first going to show you how I'm designing the text. Today we're going to use Artspira. You can also use Canvas Workspace or whatever workspace you have for your cutting machine. But for the scan and cut, I'm going to use Artspira, and I'm going to show you how it works. All right, so we're going to grab my iPad here and my super secret code. Anyway, we're going to bring up, I'm going to turn this way down, hopefully, so you can see a little bit better in here. We're going to bring up Canvas Workspace, and we're just going to start with a new, and then we're going to make sure it says cutting, and we're going to go to Design Editor. Okay, so now we have a 12 by 12 mat. I'm just going to add text, and because I measured my wood piece and it's almost 23 inches across, we're going to divide it, so the word Christmas into 2 pieces, and we'll cut the fabric twice. So we're going to go CHRIS, go. Okay, now I do not want that font, so we're going to touch it. We're going to hit font. And the Merry, which I already cut out, I use this Beyond the Mountains, which is one of the free fonts. Okay. And then we're going to enlarge it as big as we can go side to side. Okay. You can also use down here, there's an edit button. Nope, not that one. There's a one you can use to redo the size if you want to just add dimensions. Okay, so you can see, I don't know if you can see here, but the I and the S are overlapping and they're not welded together. Okay, so we need to tap on it. We need to do the select, and then there's an overlap button. We can hit the weld and done. And now you can see they're joined together perfectly and not overlapping. Okay, so it's going to cut it like I want it to. All right, so that's good. So we're going to say, okay, done. I don't need to save this. All right, and we're going to transfer it. So I'm going to turn on my machine. Okay. And then we're going to hit the transfer button. And it says the data is complete. Okay, so we're going to put this to the side because we do need to create the second half of that file. So we will be doing that. But first, we're going to get everything else lined up. All right, so to retrieve the data on here, I'm going to hit Retrieve Data, then the Cloud Pocket. Maybe I'll lower this a little bit so you guys can see the mat and what I'm doing here. And we can brighten this back up. Okay, so now I see the CHRIS on here. I can move it. You can just grab your finger and drag it around on the screen if you want. I'm just going to get a piece of fabric ready. It's sort of in the middle of the mat, so we will make sure that we put the fabric in the middle of the mat as well. Okay, and then I'm using my fabric mat. So there are lots of different ways to cut fabric. In fact, next week at the Houston Quilt Festival, I am going to be doing my stage demo on lots of different ways to cut fabric using your scan and cut machine. You can back it with the iron-on backing. You can use the standard mat. You can use the fabric mat. You can use your fabric blade. You can use the rotary blade. Okay, so lots of different ways to cut it. But today, we are just using the thin fabric blade and the fabric mat. I am not backing this fabric because I actually like the little bit of fringe is not the right word, fraying that comes when you don't use the backing. If you use the backing, which is this, no, this is not the backing. This is the mat stickiness, which is another way. If your mat is not sticky, you can put this on. The backing, which is this, applique, iron-on applique backing. If you put that on and then stick it to the mat, it like cuts perfectly, like literally foolproof. So if you want a foolproof cut, use that. But know that you don't get any little frays because it cuts it so smoothly. So I want it to look a little bit more artistic. So that's what I'm going with. Now, because of the scripty letters, I actually tried using the rotary blade and it was too intricate. The rotary on this thin, on like leather or something else, the rotary blade does a better job, but this is actually just thin regular quilting fabric. So the thin fabric auto blade works just fine. Okay, so we're going to use that thin fabric auto blade to cut. We see it there. We don't need to mirror it. What I see is what I'm going to get. Whoops. And I ejected the mat instead of hitting start. Okay, so we're going to go with that. We're going to select cut. And we're going to start it. All right, while that is cutting, we are going to create the rest of our file. And it says it's going to take 2 minutes to cut, so not that long. Okay, so let me just lower this again. And we are going to say done on this design. We're going to go back to the design editor. Remember, we left off with this S. So we're going to go T. Now, I don't want a capital T. So I'm going to make sure I put a lowercase t, M-A-S. Go. Looks like, oh, I wrote Thomas. I don't know where I got an A in there. Okay, lowercase t, M-A-S. Thomas, much better. Okay, then we're going to go to font. We're going to go to between the mountains again. Done. We're going to enlarge it to fill the mat again. And you can also see on this one that, oops. That the A and the S overlap here and they're not welded. So we need to go to the select, weld. You can also divide using that same thing, then okay. And now it looks better and is ready to cut. Okay, so we're going to go done. Don't save. Transfer. Transfer is complete. Okay, now let's see what we've cut and see if what we've got going is what we want. All right, so we're going to peel this off. Of course, this is always like the big reveal and the I hope this cut correctly. Hopefully I spelled it right. It looks beautiful. All right, C-H-R-I-S. And then we hopefully have the T-M-A-S on the other cut piece. So I'm going to carefully peel this off. Now, with the fabric, because of how it's cut, sometimes like these thinner places right here, if you pull it too quickly, it will rip. All right, so you need to, and in fact, I had to cut the word Mary a few times this morning because I kept ripping it. Okay. So I'm going to remove this carefully. We're actually just going to put this into a pile. This is a thin spot, so I'm trying to be careful because put this into a pile because we have to spread it out on the wood anyway. It's not that many pieces. I think I can put it back together. The Mod Podge will hold it all together when we're done. All right, and then we need to cut. Where'd my green fabric come out? One more piece. I'm going to go back to the home. I'm also going to retrieve data again. I like to see this before I cut my fabric because, all right, so the TMAS, I want to make sure I'm cutting it big enough, but not too big. Uh-oh, that might be a little too short. Uh-oh. I better just cut all the way across. I was trying not to, but that's just going to be the safest. I was making some scrappy Christmas ornaments last week, and so I went and just bought 1, 2, 3, some little, I don't know, did I get a 1/3 of yard or 1/4 of yard from Hobby Lobby for this Christmas fabric to have on hand. So now I have everything you'll see will probably be this fabric until I use it up because that's what I have on hand for Christmas fabric. All right, you want to press it nicely to the mat. If your mat has too many particle pieces on it from the last cut, you want to make sure you clean it before you move forward. Ooh, I see that someone has a new cover stitch machine. That is super exciting. So you're pressing it firmly to the mat, but you can also clean it. I clean with wet wipes in between sometimes to get off yucky pieces that are stuck onto my fabric mat. Okay, so I see the TMAS. It looks good. We're going to go ahead and okay. We're going to just watch this one cut because we don't need to be doing anything. This one is going to cut, and hopefully it cuts as smoothly as it did last time. If you don't have a fabric mat, I didn't for actually several years. And the way that I got around that was literally just using the standard mat with the backing. It cuts perfectly. The backing is sticky enough that it sticks to the standard mat and you don't need the extra stickiness of the fabric mat. I see Mary, I see Debbie. Hello, everyone. Today we're making, actually, if you're just coming on, this is what we're making, only we're making a Christmas version. This is the fall Thanksgiving give thanks sign that I made many, many years ago, cutting fabric on my Scan & Cut. And then today we're going to make the back a Christmas design so that I can use it for more seasons and not have to store this chunk of wood as much. So I'm just putting it off to the side while this cuts. Uh-oh. You see that? It moved a little bit. So it may not be as nice of it. We may have to recut. So the M did not cut out, and I don't think I can force it. So the T and the A and the S cut out just fine. Okay, so I'm going to save those. I'm going to recut the whole thing. And I'm going to take this out so I can press it firmly. Recut the whole thing, but really We just need the M. And again, if your mat is not sticky enough, then the fabric can move like that. So let's make sure it's really stuck down. That's the reason why people use the backing. Again, I said I like the way that the fabric frays, but it does allow for more issues with slipping and the fabric moving, and that does not happen when you use an applique backing. Yes, yeah, so okay, so we're gonna select cut, start. Let's see if we can make this work a second time. Really, I just need an M. So as soon as it's cut the M, I'm ejecting it. I'm going to hit stop or pause. We do not need it to cut the whole thing. It looks like it's cutting the A and the S first. Okay, that's fine. If it gets to the M next, then I'm going to stop it. It's sticking very well at the moment, but we'll see when that M was tricky. Seems like it's stuck. Okay, I think it's cutting just fine this time. All right, we're gonna hit pause. We're gonna quit the cutting, okay? Because we got what we needed. I don't need it to keep going. Okay, and there's a perfect M for us this time. So, I don't know, maybe I didn't stick it fully enough. Who knows? All right, so now I'm gonna grab my slab of wood. All right, and we're gonna do our layout. So we have all the pieces that we cut. Don't worry if they're like bent or not wanting to lay nicely. This is all going to be stuck down with Mod Podge, and it fully sticks it. So this is just sort of temporary as we get the layout going. Okay, so C. And you do want it to lay flat, so I want to make sure that the way I'm laying it, you know, that it will lay nicely. CH. Looks like we need an R here. RI. I don't know how that's supposed to really go. ST. Okay, now we take our M that we just cut. Okay, M. And we have the A and the S right here. Ooh, it looks good. Now, can I fit Mary right here? That is going to be the next trial. Now, I will say that when I cut it smaller, the Mary was just one width of my board. These narrow parts are way more narrow, so it is much more likely to rip. So I have to be careful. It feels more fragile than the bigger pieces. Okay. Ooh, that is cute. You probably can't really see it, but it's looking good. Okay, so Mod Podge, foam brush. You might say, well, you have this all on here. How are you going to glue it? Well, very, very carefully. So what I'm going to actually do is just lift one part of the lettering and then put Mod Podge underneath. And then after I get it all stuck down, then we'll put over top. So I just like here, lift the S. Now this time when I put it down, I'm actually going to stick it much more carefully. My brush is going to take a while to absorb, so probably should just stick a bunch down. Okay, you don't need a ton. but enough that it sticks. And here's where I want it to make sure it's laying flat, not twisted, not puckered, okay? So we're gonna adhere it down, and then we're gonna put a nice layer over the top. And as I go over with my brush, then that's where I'm gonna get some of my, a little bit fraying on the edge, which I want. I think you could do this with regular glue or fabric glue. I've never tried. I, years and years ago, was given a whole bunch of Mod Podge. I actually just noticed that I'm down to like 2 little bottles. So I've been using this Mod Podge, but maybe we'll just put this on here. Okay, so put it all under where I think that T is gonna be. Your letters can overlap. So on the Give Thanks one, it actually was like a scripty letter where they all were connected. And oh, I'm getting some of that good fraying going on. Love it. And so I had to make sure that the letters were all lined up and they did connect to each other as I was laying them out like this. Okay, so because I had to cut it in a couple different mats, I think I used 2 or 3 mats. Some of it is just tucked under, like this little loop of the I. If I cut these separately, would just tuck under the S. Not necessarily connected, but it looks connected. It looks like one solid cut, and it's not. I can't remember now if I did 2 or 3 cuts, but it's definitely not a single cut, but it looks like it. Okay. Looking so pretty. You can also paint your wood first, like so many options. We're just going to do this in 2 sections here. You can cover the whole wood. I don't really want to cover the whole wood, so you can see I'm just kind of putting the Mod Podge where I think it should go and not like everywhere, but you could also do that if that was easier for you. I will cover more fully when I do the top layer because we'll be soaking into the fabric. Okay. We're going to let that sit for just a second while we do the Mary up at the top. And then I'm going to cover the whole thing with a top layer that will secure it down and finish off this fabulous and easy. I can't lift it up to show you yet because the Mary is not glued down. Okay, but we're going to get there. The Amazon man is at my front porch. Okay, stay together. Okay. I went back and forth on using this like lighter color fabric for the Mary. I really like it. And the only other thing I had was a pretty bold red. And I don't know. I just wasn't as excited about that. With the green, I thought it might be too much. So maybe I won't like this either. I don't know. It seems pretty light. So again, you're not using too much, but you need enough that your fabric is sticking to the wood. And of course, the wood is very porous, so it is soaking up the Mod Podge, and my brush is very porous, so it is soaking up the Mod Podge. So it's kind of hard to get enough on there. Okay, little guy. Don't be twisted. Okay, I'm gonna lift this up and show you. See what we think. Okay, it's coming along nicely. Again, kind of hard to see the Mary. Now you can see it. Maybe I'll have to outline it. I'll have to see when it all dries how it looks. But I think it looks really cute together with the two different fabrics. So we'll see. Okay. So now it's time to cover the top. And you want to soak it, but I don't want to disturb it. So if at all I feel like I'm moving the fabric, then I have to make sure either like here that I'm sticking it down again. Can use a dabbing motion if you feel like brush strokes are moving the fabric, but you want to completely soak the fabric, which will preserve it. Like my backside, I said, no wear and tear. Like I put this away, I kind of throw it in our crawl space, no problem, because it's like totally glued to the wood. But then I also want to wipe those. When I sort of dab, it gets airier. So I want it to look smooth when I'm done too. So you can also do the brush strokes like the direction of the fabric. That helps it to stay nicely. The edges are fraying a little bit, just how I want them as I put this on. Don't be shy with the glue. And I use a foam brush because I just throw it away when I'm done. But if you want to keep your foam brushes, you can. I don't. Looking good. Of course, the color will be dulled for a while until it completely dries. Because it's soaked with glue at the moment, so it has a little bit of a white tint, but that will not stay. And will disappear as soon as it dries. But this will harden the fabric, seal it, glue it, all in one, right? It is applied, it is glued. And then it will stay on the wood. I have not tried this like on a canvas, but I also think that would be a cool look to do like the letters on a canvas. Let me show you how it, okay, so you can see how the letters just have a little bit of white look because so cute. That font is really fun. And that's a free one in our Xpira, not an upgrade. So if you're looking for this font, you can grab it in our Xpira. And it's not one of the premium ones. And if you don't like any of the fonts in our Xpira, then if you use Canvas Workspace, you can import any font from your computer or laptop to the Scan and Cut. That's what I did last time. I do not know what my Scripty font was on the other side, the Thanksgiving one. But I know that I designed it in Canvas Workspace because our Xpira wasn't even out yet. And I just used a font that I had on my computer. So I do love being able to use literally any font and turn it into a cut file. That's probably like the only drawback to our Xpira at the moment is that I can't import all my fonts like I can in Workspace. And I have used a lot of different fonts before. All right. I think it's all stuck down. Of course, if later I see a spot that I want to go over again, I can do that. Oh, I didn't get the eye, the dot on the eye. And it's already starting to dry on this side here. Okay. So it's not completely dry, but it is getting dry. There's the Mary, and there's the rest of it. And there's our beautiful sign. Quick, easy. Now I can have my Thanksgiving fall sign up, and then I can just flip it over and have a Merry Christmas sign. So there you go. I hope that's a quick and easy tutorial to inspire you to do something creative. And I'm not really ready for Christmas, but I'm starting to think about Christmas crafts. I don't like that, but I am thinking about that. So there you go. Enjoy, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. I will see you next week with another fun project. Bye.